Previously on.
Previously.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on the recap sequence.
Hey folks, welcome to the recap sequence. We are back. It seems like forever. It seems like we never lost track of this guy for so long, and then there's this huge gap in our lives, and we are here to fill that gap with a call with our good friend Brent O'Hara is joining us.
How are you,
from
sir?
Moncton. How are you, sir?
Doing great, guys. Yeah, it's been forever.
It has.
It
There was
seems like
snow
a
on
long
the
time.
ground. Yeah, seems like there was.
I don't know if it's because last time we had Brent on, we kind of said, well, you've been on like 80 plus episodes to this point.
Yeah, we
more than
didn't-
anybody else.
I don't think we meant anything by it, and I don't think but I think maybe we all subconsciously took that away, and we just went and did different things for several months. But yeah, it seems like it's and we haven't been putting out the episodes as like frequently as usual. So it's been about 10 episodes.
Yeah,
but
about
it
that.
feels like about 10 months. So it's great to be back on with you, Brent. So we're looking forward to today's chat.
Right on.
And of course, it is perfect because, you know, as we record this, 10 days from now, it is East Coast Comic Expo. I can't wait. Brent, you guys have been rolling out the list of guests here. It's just a phenomenal who's who. You got to be excited. I know I normally ask you whether you started not sleeping yet, but usually that's about a week out, I think.
Well, yeah, like you're saying, we had a lot of guests to announce this year, and so I mean, I partner with our web developer, Brad McDonald, and he helps put this together, and I make the Facebook announcements and the graphics, and we announce our entire roster. And like you've probably noticed, you know, we've been going for a good long
Yeah.
stretch announcing people, and boy, do we have a terrific group of creators coming
Yes.
this year, and it's pretty cool. So I mean, for the East Coast Comic Expo, we have our special guests, which we kind of bring in. They're sort of often sort of the bigger name that are doing bigger name projects, and then we have our featured guests, which are often our regional creators that are here in our backyard that are also doing very cool things, or up and comers. And then we have some cosplay guests that we fit in there as well. But you know, every year it's so interesting to see the interesting things that are happening with our guests just as we're announcing. Like, for example, like Mike Deatter, who's been with us so many times before, political cartoonist extraordinaire, audience of millions.
Mhm.
You know, I went to high school with Mike.
Yeah.
You know, and he was nominated to the Order of Canada
Yes.
this year,
Yeah,
right?
that's fantastic.
So there's so many fun things that happen. Look at the titles that Jed McKay has been getting at Marvel. You know, he's of course on Blood Hunt right now is a big main event, but coming on board, he's been doing Avengers, coming
Yeah.
on board with a new X-Men title. Look, we got one of our local creators who's going to be writing X-Men for the Marvel, you know, for Marvel with the, you know, that's really exciting. And same thing with a lot of our guests. You know, if you go to our website, and I'm going to make a post tomorrow that's sharing like a one all image of all of the creators
Right. Yeah.
together, so that you can see the list of them all together and say, wow, you know, and there's a lot of cool things going on with all of them. So it's
You
sort
weren't
of
done
at the
though,
end of
'cause
it.
you announced another guest this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just announced Scott Balches,
Yeah.
and he's did you see his list of
Yes.
I did.
list of
I
CG
did.
credits? Every cartoon that the animated
Amazing.
show that, you know, that
Yeah.
that people have grown up on and said, man, I love that show. It seems like he's done all of them.
You know, it's an impressive roster when, like, every time. So I'm our social media department, breaking the fourth wall here. So like pretty much every time I'm on my phone, like I'm at work or I'm at home or whatever, I pick it up, I'm like, Oh my God. Because I really, we like to amplify the announcements that come out for ECC guests. It's like, oh, geez, I better get on this one because you guys have been just like rolling them out at such a steady pace. It's a very impressive list. And the perspective of, 10 days from now, I hadn't really been thinking about it because it's still May, but we are,
know.
we're really coming up to this. And it's very exciting. And so it's the second one back since the pandemic, but it might as well be the first. We are that excited to get back to Moncton.
Right on. Well, I can't wait to see you guys. I'll get to, yeah, we'll have to, there's going to be lots of things going on, the usual stuff, but I'll look forward to our chat. We usually
Yeah.
get to have a chat on the floor of the
Yep.
expo. It's kind of tradition now.
Brent, anybody who's watching this or listening to it on the radio, whatnot. So you guys have Friday night and then all day Saturday. So what are the times then for everybody out there if they're looking to attend?
Right on. Okay, so we're at the Moncton Coliseum again this year, and that's kind of been our landing spot recently, and we're going to keep it. And so this year we're falling into June 7th and 8th. And so the Friday evening is 6 to 9. But if you happen to be a VIP ticket holder for the Friday, well, then you get in an hour earlier at 5. Okay. So, but the standard time, again, 6 to 9. And then on the Saturday, similarly, the hours are 10 to 5. But if you are a VIP holder, hour earlier, you get in at 9, and you get those early picks of rifling through the books and the fun stuff that all of the vendors. We have a packed house. We've been sold out for months for tables.
That's
Yeah,
exciting
that's
to hear
great.
that.
Oh man, it's so it's packed, and we're doing some interesting things this year. So I can't wait to see what you guys think. The gaming is going to be back in our section, one of the sections on the floor. We're changing things up a little bit for our guests. So where they're going to be located, so that'll be kind of fun to see how that rolls out. We're gonna have lots of panels and fun things going on. I'm going to be hosting the Marvel panel this year, so I'm very excited to get to chat with with our local Marvel writers and some of our guests that we have here. So that one, we've got Ed Brisson and Jed McKay from Halifax. We also have Jason Lau, who we have a guest coming in, and all those guys have been working on cool Marvel stuff. So I can't wait to quiz them on what might be coming up and see what little tidbits of information we can find out.
That's great, and for us too. Like we last year, and this year's going to be no different based on what we're hearing. We make our way around when we do. I don't know how things are going to be set up this year, but we usually hit the creators, the writers, and artists all in kind of one sort
One
of
swoop.
wipe as
Yeah.
we can, and one right after the other. And everybody's just got such interesting stuff. Last year was so amazing to hear what some of these folks were working on. We were like Jed was just getting going on the Avengers stuff last year when we were talking to him. So it's going to be very exciting to hear. Well, I'm sure he's heard a lot about it, but it'll be exciting for us to have him tell us about all the things that he's working on this year. Nick Bradshaw is going to be back, and I was saying before
Yep.
we went on air here, it was I think every time we've talked to Nick, it's like the last time we're ever going to talk to him because he's so busy doing other stuff, and he's like, yeah, maybe I'm not going to do cons, maybe I'm going to focus on a little bit, but he's always there, and he's such a great a personality to get a chance to chat with.
And one of the things, Brent, where I am going to bring up to him is when we talked to him last year,
Yeah.
I had asked him if there was anything he wanted to work on, if there was a bucket list of his.
Oh,
And he said, yes, I would love to work on ROM. And what comes out in late November of last year? ROM versus the X-Men.
there
With
you
the
go.
Nick Bradshaw cover. So I think that's super cool. I did want to ask, it's been fun, like on my Facebook memories when they keep popping up now, all of the stuff going, oh my God, I was so much younger when we started doing these East Coast Comic Expo trips and everything.
Oh, great.
But you guys used to have all sorts of wild things. You had that beautiful Darwin Cook exhibit that you had up one year. There was the toy package, which you stood in there with your microphone.
Oh, Grandway Comics.
Yeah.
Yes. When it was the action figure backing, that was one of the coolest displays for sure.
You had the Guardians of the Galaxy jail thing there, which was so cool for that. Without maybe divulging anything, will there be anything exciting like that? And will the Iron Man collection be on display?
Mm.
That's the other thing I want to know.
We're well, first off, yes, and I'm not 100% sure of this, but I think that we started this, the action figure where you could stand in front of the
Yes.
blister pack. I
Yeah.
think we started that.
Nice.
And
Okay.
that
Yeah.
was like many years ago now, but
Yeah.
we did a Comic Expo one, and we may be getting another one of those this year. So
That's good
that might be
because
themed.
we could use a variant podcaster with microphone and extra cortisol around the waist. That'll be my photo next week.
Oh, you were asking about I don't think that the Iron Man collection will be coming this year, only because we're going to try our main East Coast Comic Expo table will be upstairs, at the main entrance,
Right.
before you go downstairs onto the arena floor. We're trying this year we're going to try putting our main expo setup there instead. And we weighed about putting the museum up there, but the thought of some of those valuables getting knocked over the edge
Yeah.
of the,
Yeah.
just
No,
so
it makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
maybe we'll just get the logistics of that nailed down, and next year we'll go for the big return of of the collections and have the museum there with all the cool comic art and collectibles.
Yeah.
I've got to say, another thing we had talked to you about when we were talking about, the ECC we were at last year, and you guys were always looking to try and make the con a better, more family fun experience. I think you guys really nailed it. Your ticket prices are fantastic and very family friendly, affordable.
100%. And you know what? That was, I was fighting for that. That's really something that we wanted to do. And, everybody knows that things have gone crazy for expenses, or, everything is expensive. Groceries, everything, does that include the cost of the Coliseum? Yeah, sure it does.
I don't
all
doubt
of,
it,
all
yeah.
of the costs for everything are way, way up. But so what we did this year was we worked to find ways so that we would be able to make up those costs in other ways, so that we could keep the costs down as much as we could for people who wanted to attend the show. So yeah, we have a really good 1 day entry cost, compared to any show like this.
Yeah.
And and then for our 2 day, and we have our 4 day ticket, you can grab you and 4 friends and come
That
in
was
as
cool.
a group,
Yeah.
a group of 4.
Yeah.
That sort of doubles as our family pass or what have you, right?
I think
So
that's an amazing idea, by
Yeah.
the way, to be able to, like, I mean, bodies are bodies, right? And I think that the more people you get in and the more accessible you guys make it, the more success to you. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things I find every year has set your show
more
apart.
success to our vendors too.
Yes.
right?
That as well, and
Yeah.
that's a very big part of that's what keeps the vendors, coming in and paying for the tables and kind of creating the ability to do other things. But what sets you guys apart is this focus, and I don't hear this from any of the other shows, and I know that all the other shows, want to be family friendly. They want it to be a very inclusive event, but I do find that ECC goes out of their way to make sure that it's a family friendly and accessible event. So good on you guys for doing that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And that's, again, that is our focus. And we're a nonprofit, so it's all volunteer. It's all a volunteer effort. Nobody gets paid for anything for this stuff. This is a passion project for all of us and for our community. And it has turned out to be such a memorable a time for folks in our region, and it has become one of those things where it's just you got to do it every year. You got to go to the East Coast Comic Expo, and I mean, look at the guest lists that are going to be there. Look at the vendors, the artists, the artisans, all of the things that are being created, the fun things that are going on with the panels and the face painting and the kids in for free, and there's just a lot to bring folks in. And then what they do there is to have fun with the costumes, cosplay, the contests, sitting in on the panels, the sketch offs, and there's just a lot of fun to be had if you want to make the most of it. Great. Or if you're just a casual fan, and this is what we had to get better on. If you're just a casual fan and you aren't as familiar with the guests or the comic creators, and you just want to go, well, now we try to make it accessible for just the average folk who maybe not be so immersed in comic lore,
Yeah.
to come in and participate and have fun with
Yeah.
everybody.
I do want to ask as well, because I know I had put some, I tried to purchase some stuff last year. Are you guys doing the silent auction again this year?
We didn't do one this year. So again, but that was a huge hit for us in the past. We just were short on manpower this
Okay,
year to
right,
be
yeah.
able to get that organized, but it's not off the table to bring it back. So just keep an eye out, and
Yep.
and maybe we'll be doing something with some of the sketches. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But we won't have the table full of artwork like we did in the same way last year.
Okay. I think one other thing before we go to chat with Brent about, because we always chat with Brent about Marvel news here.
Sure.
Is something potentially you guys should create like a map of Atlantic Canada and give it to everybody who goes in and say, see if you can pinpoint everybody you meet, creators who are from Atlantic Canada, because part of your lineup is the amount of Atlantic Canadian creators that you have here. Both those in the working for Marvel, as you mentioned, but also independent creators that you guys have here, like Sandy Carruthers, the GY6 crew that are going to be there. It's incredible how much talent is out there that you guys are able to bring into for this show.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and it's one of the great things that the East Coast Comic Expo has been able to kind of be a part of. And raise awareness of is the remarkable amount of talent and the reach of the projects that they're doing on an international
Yeah.
scale. It's the level of talent, the talent that we have in our region that are working at the top levels of the industry as far as the products, the IP, the characters and stuff. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's kind of what we take great joy in sharing.
So the inspiration factor, I think, plays a huge role in this too. If you've got people that come in that that have a keen interest in comics or a keen interest in creating, and to be able to be exposed to this and to see every single level of marketability that they have at their fingertips because of the reach that some of these folks have been able to achieve, and then you've got people that are coming in, and it's almost like a succession plan of talent, right? Like the next crop of people we're at an age now where we're seeing the new talent kind of come in. We've been doing this for a decade, right? And so there's a point here where probably attendees are now either vendors or exhibitors or have been somewhat affected in their own creative processes by being able to access something like this. And the venue itself too is a great large space.
It's a perfect venue for you guys.
Bright. It's we're not sweating like crazy like we are in some other places. It's like it's a very positive experience. So it like from you bring the talent in and you create the access to all of these people that come in. You're able to shape some minds. So I think it's a part of the reason why this is such a great event and such a successful event. So and it was sorely missed during the years of the pandemic. So I'm very excited about it.
Right on. And we have, like, you're speaking of another good example of that. I know that the Comic Expo having this, we have members of our team that Scott Tingley's is a teacher with our school system here, and is making arrangements so that we can have one of our guests this year. This year, that guest is going to be Tara Audibert, and he's going to be taking Tara out to a couple of the schools.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And she's going to present, with some of her work that she's created. I mean, she has some wonderful First Nations themed stories and has a tremendous list of a repertoire, for her books and things. And she's going to be a guest that she goes and is going to speak with the kids.
That's such a great thing. Yeah.
That's
Right.
really cool.
They do
You
that
know?
here in so we have the Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival
Yep.
every year, and by virtue of the fall and the fact that when it happens, our school system, all of my kids, that have now made it through the elementary school system, oh my gosh, have had, guests that come in during that period during Harvest Week, jazz musicians and blues musicians, and come in just what a great thing to be able to add on to, again, accessibility and sharing those opportunities, to kind of plant those seeds, at where you gotta catch kids where they are, right? So if you're not bringing them there, it's great that you're bringing the guests to them.
Yeah, yeah, and we hope to continue doing that. I recall one year, it was a good number of years ago now, but we had Ty Templeton come
Yes.
and offer a course on creating comics. And we did that at a local college, local college facility, and people involved in it was like the things that we can do is to the build up and the ramp up towards the Comic Expo
Mhm.
is really fun.
It is. Last thing, last year you were dressed as a agent of Shield. Was yet to be determined whether you were Skrull or not. We didn't know. Will we be getting another outfit or costume this year?
That's a good question.
Or
I
is that a
think
wait and see?
yeah, no, I'll probably be going as a comic dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be going as a fan.
Yeah.
That's
We'll s-
awesome. Can we take a bet right now, the over under of how many Deadpools we're gonna see that
Ooh.
weekend on Friday and Saturday? I don't know.
Or Wolverines.
Or Wolverines,
I
yeah,
think,
I guess.
some X-Men 97 might make their way in there too.
I don't know. Brent, do you care to speculate?
Well, you might be hinting on some themed things that you might see,
Hey.
that once you arrive there. So we'll
Right.
see how many
I like it.
costumes go along with the themes.
We're dialed in here.
Yeah.
We're hip. Is that, does the kids
Yeah.
still say that?
Our Facebook page, our memories from past CCs will say differently.
Right.
We've aged gracefully.
Well, I don't. Yeah,
I guess.
I've aged. I've grown in ways.
Brent, as I alluded to, we got a bunch of Marvel news
Yeah.
that's happened over the last little while, and we haven't had a chance to pick your brain on some of this stuff. So I've got to ask you. I wanted to start off with the announcement that Bob Iger had made regarding the sort of not downgrading, but saying, okay, we're each year now is going to have 2 Disney Plus TV series. And I don't know if you've noticed as well, particularly with the X-Men 97 now, the Marvel thing that spins out is Marvel TV that they're doing for that. And then they're saying, as in terms of films, 2 to maybe 3 films a year. And we know this year we're only getting 1, which is Deadpool and Agatha Harkness, which we'll get to here in a second because the first little trailer came out. But I was really curious your thoughts then on Iger's statement.
Yeah, I think that look, Marvel, the pandemic, the tenuous atmosphere from everyone getting through a pandemic, and everyone being testy, and there was just a lot. It was a lot, and the whole idea of people going out to the theater took a hit, right? And things are super expensive right now, and so there's the economy, there's all kinds of things that are creating challenges. So that said, it's kind of natural to see that, okay, so maybe some of the showings might not have performed to Avengers Endgame levels of box office. Well, duh,
Yeah.
it's like, okay,
Right, that's a hard bar to
Yeah.
maintain for sure.
they have set the bar for
Right.
themselves,
Yeah.
and they're not going to hit everything, but they have to contend with the media uh, propensity to lean into potentially negative headlines, and then they have to fight that.
React
You know,
accordingly.
every time that there is this need to try to see that something, oh, it's not, oh, it's going to fail, oh, it's going to fail, oh, it's going to
Right.
fail. You know, that has an impact, right? And they have to combat that. So ultimately, the impact of that, Bob Iger's come back around and said, okay, we're going to slow things down, you know, and we're going to make sure that the things that we are doing are up to the caliber that we are proud of, and that we're able to, you know, we want them to be successes. So in a way, it's a bit of a reset just in the mentality of the audience, so that they can, okay, all right, so there's a bit of shift, and there was a pause this year, like you pointed out, one Marvel movie with Deadpool and Wolverine. So I mean, apart from all of the F bombs, and you know, it's a Deadpool movie, and it's R-rated, which is very different for Marvel Studios.
Do you feel that
But
this
here
is a testing the water for them?
they are absolutely,
Yeah.
but they are also honoring where this property has come from and its
Yeah.
history. You know, you can't go with a watered down Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. You don't want to do that if you want to, you know, to keep the audience that you had before. And everyone's really excited about this movie. So you've got this one movie. It's going to be a palate cleanser. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff that you don't normally see in a Marvel movie.
Well, just look at the intro trailer they're throwing out there with Wolverine and Deadpool telling people to shut their phones off.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is now
right?
it's
Yeah.
now playing in
Yeah.
every theater, and I'm like, oh wow, this is, you know, if this didn't help them at all, I don't know what will.
Right. No, this is going to be huge. Broke a record for online ticket sales already. So, you know, in its first day or so, when tickets went on sale, this movie is going to do well for them. And like you said, there's just all right, the one we do get Agatha all along here. Maybe Eyes of Wakanda, the animated thing, maybe they'll be slotting that in. It was supposed to be 24, we'll see. But they want everyone hungry for more Marvel, because you know what happens next year? We've got a crap load of there's
Right,
a
yeah.
whole
So
slate.
do we have dates now for stuff for like what's slated to come out for 2025 for both Disney Plus and the MCU?
Okay, so we have starting off for 2025. We know in February we have Cap's Brave New World, right? So we have that's going to be in the theaters. Then in March, so February, that's Cap, Brave New World. March, Daredevil Born Again, which everyone's excited about, leading
yeah.
coming out of Echo and picking up where the Netflix series left off. They brought those ties back in.
Mhm.
Again, Bob Iger coming in and saying, hey, get this right with the fans. They rewrote a bunch of things. They retooled things to make sure that they weren't alienating parts of their audience, parts of their loyal audience, you know. They wanted to feel connected. So March, Daredevil, Born Again. We get that series on Disney Plus. Thunderbolts in May. Okay, so that we have, another theater experience, which brings Phase 6 to a close. And
Oh,
then
really?
yes, and so then
I
we
didn't
have
know it
our,
was that
Phase 6?
close.
Oh,
sorry,
man,
I'm no
like,
sorry, I said that wrong. I said Phase 5 to a close,
Okay.
and it's the launch point for Phase 6.
Gotcha.
So, and then Phase 6 launches in July with Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel. You know, so Fantastic Four is coming in July, and then they still haven't told us whether, like, Blade was supposed to drop in November of 2025,
But
and
that's already 3 movies.
that'll be 4. If Blade actually happens in
Right.
2025, that will be 4. So that's a lot, and they're back up to being. So I'm wondering whether Deadpool and maybe Ironheart might get pushed into the following year to kind of pave this road that Bob Iger has been saying: 3 movies, 2 Disney Plus series, because we
So-
already have that.
What's the second Disney Plus then? First one would be
uh,
Daredevil.
Well, actually, and it may be Ironheart.
Okay.
They might do the Ironheart later in the year to have something around November,
Mhm.
October, November in there somewhere, to tide us over from
Yeah.
July into the next year, which if November we have Blade, Okay, great. But if Blade gets pushed forward into February, which might make more sense,
Mhm.
because then you could have next year, you could have Blade, Avengers 5, and maybe Armor Wars, if that actually comes to fruition with Rhodey, picking up out of Secret Invasion and doing that movie. There's your three movies there. And you might have, for your Disney Plus, you might have Vision Quest, which is the White Vision
Yes.
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And they still said that Wonder Man's still in production. So you
Okay.
might, there's your 2026 right there.
Wow.
And that doesn't even factor in the fact that they've said, okay, Hawkeye season 2 is coming. We know there's a Shang-Chi 2 movie, the Young Avengers tease that we know has been planted and we're going to be getting somewhere. What about Doctor Strange 3? What about Okoye, the Disney Plus series? Nova has been as much as teased and confirmed as to being in production, potentially for Disney Plus. These are all things that can be peppered in here. But we know, and then 2027, we know we've got Avengers Secret Wars in May. The Kang Dynasty movie in May of 2026, and then the following year, Avengers Secret Wars. There's lots of things that they can kind of sort in around that, because Avengers in 2027, we're probably looking at a start of Phase 7 in a reboot of some sort or a refresh, so that you could have, not only might we get the X-Men then, that's why when we might get our X-Men starting fresh, the new MCU X-Men, you might have some characters that have been established get to come over and stay in the universe that they have, but you might have some new things. You might have a T'Challa from some other one part of the multiverse. I think
Right.
the Secret Wars is going to put a close to the multiverse traveling stories that we've been getting, and then we're going to get back to here's our Marvel universe, and with all of the new refreshed take on the characters to kind of see them through the next 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Retirement, I guess.
It's interesting the way you said that, though, because now that I think about it, it actually makes sense for them to just have the one movie this year and then launch just pretty much they're ramping it up and launching with Agatha, because the trailer wasn't very much. It was sort of just sort of a funny haha thing. But I've heard rumors, Brent, maybe you can dispel them or confirm that this might be somehow how the Scarlet Witch is going to factor back into the MCU going forward, or is
what happened at the in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness that left people? What would that little red flash?
right?
What is that? It left it open-ended, and the Darkhold,
Yeah.
Wanda, are pretty big factors of the Marvel universe. And where would you address that? Like, they haven't told us much about what we're going to be experienced with Agatha all along. Which was funny because we're meant to believe that all of these title changes were a build up to them finally revealing the title to be, it was Agatha all along.
Yeah.
So what are they going to get to tease moving into these following properties, like you say? Will we see any hints at Vision? Will we see any hints at the Scarlet Witch and Wanda? I would definitely be expecting to maybe get some hints there for that.
It's also interesting. Like, I don't expect a lot of cameos potentially in the three movies in 2025, because we're getting introduced to a lot of new characters. The Red Hulk that we potentially we haven't seen yet, and then we haven't seen anything about the Thunderbolts. The Fantastic Four, though, I've been dying to ask you about these. So we know Galactus is going to be in this now. They announced that Ralph Ineson will be playing Galactus in the Fantastic Four movie. Is this basically as the voice of Galactus, or are we getting something a la Thanos?
Well, that's a good question. Oftentimes they do incorporate the actor and gather some of their physical movements and mannerisms. However, Galactus is a interesting on the equivalent of kind of like a celestial. So,
Yeah.
they may not require the motion capture aspect of it, but depending on how true they go, will they use the face to have the mouth moving they certainly could gather some of that, and that'll be fun to see. But there's lots of interesting things going on with the Fantastic Four. The Shalabal, that's kind of interesting. So Julie Carpenter there, but there are actors there. We still don't know who they're going to be.
John Malkovich, Brent,
John
who's he
Malkovich.
playing?
Yeah.
Right?
Who's
Of
John
all-
Malkovich? Who could he be playing? Natasha Lyonne. We have Paul Walker Hauser. We don't really know who some of these characters could be, but it's a Fantastic Four movie. We should be expecting to see Doctor Doom. Even the
Yeah.
notion that Giancarlo Esposito
Oh,
has
man.
joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and just because he made a statement saying I'm going to be in a movie and then I'm going to be in a follow-up Disney Plus series after that, people are speculating, oh, can that point to maybe who he's playing? Will he show up in Fantastic Four? Maybe. Could he be playing Doctor Doom? I don't know who, or I think
Malkovich
that
as well.
Malkovich could be playing Doctor Doom. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good choice.
I see John Malkovich being able to play some interesting characters. He would be an awesome mad thinker.
Oh,
He would be an awesome, and I know not everyone might agree with me with this, but I think he would be kind of amazing as the Mole Man, just
Yeah.
because of how into the role he could get
Uh-huh.
to pull that off. But we don't really know who they're going to be. So there's lots of fun to be had yet as they're marketing towards next year and filming and getting into some of these stuff. Yeah.
well, they also said, and he confirmed it. Paul Walter Hauser has confirmed he's going to be in the Fantastic Four movie, and he's playing a role right out of the Marvel comics. He won't say what. So, I mean,
Right.
it's exciting to see these names. Now, sorry, just with regards to, we know Galactus is going to be in there. Does that mean we are going to get a little buddy of his that goes around and sort of referring to Silver Surfer?
Yeah, no, will we get a Norrin Rad? Well, that's the question right now. I mean, you have to take all of the rumors with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
There is, but this one has had some life to it. So will we be getting there's been, will Shalabal be a female Silver Surfer? That's possible. Will we get Norrin Rad in this story? That is possible. Will we get both of them being Silver Surfers? It remains to be seen exactly what they're doing, because you get the internet speculating on things, and sometimes they can go an awful long ways only to find out that they were wrong. So it remains to be seen. But I would certainly expect to see the Silver Surfer in some capacity in this movie. I would expect to see Doctor Doom in some capacity in this movie. Galactus in this movie. But we could also have, because it is a 60s set classic Fantastic Four, we have, we could be seeing a number of characters that are classic, Fantastic Four characters.
I will say, speaking of interesting castings, I read just this morning that and rumors are rumors, but I don't know. I thought this would seem pretty credible. Bryan Cranston has recently entered discussions to potentially be in an MCU vehicle of some kind, and he wants to play somebody that fairly obscure and not like somebody we've seen before or somebody that you'd expect him to see. That was sort of his take on it from the if it was a real interview, it may have been just AI in my inbox. At this point, I don't know what to believe. But you just mentioned Giancarlo Esposito, and I was like, wouldn't this be interesting? To somehow have the two of them in an MCU movie together. Kind of reprising this Breaking Bad kind of chemistry, or adversity, I guess. Anyway, that was just this morning. I don't think I've ever heard anything more prior to that. But again, I'd seen that. I was like, let's see how many sources are saying this, and there were a handful at least.
with the multiverse stories and with all of the collisions of universes that we started seeing, it opens some interesting possibilities for, again, Fantastic Four. So many things that were
Mhm.
started there in the comics. Annihilus, in the negative zone. Could we get something like that? Would one of these great actors be leaning into something like that? There's all kinds of classic Fantastic Four stuff they could lean into. So fingers crossed. Can't wait to see what they're going to do and how it ties into some of the other cool things that we have going on.
Yeah, no.
It's funny because we started this conversation kind of with, okay, Bob Iger's like, okay, let's rein this in, let's calm down with the Marvel, but it doesn't sound like they have it. It kind of sounds like they're back to like 2015 level of let's do this all the time, and just maybe let's make it seem like we're not trying to spoon feed people too much stuff. But I mean, 3 movies plus 2 TV series sounds an awful lot like what we're used to, and it almost sounds like it's like, okay, let's just kind of get back to where we were, and and get that expectation mill going, and get everybody back onto their schedule of excitement, because we were always able to depend on something early winter in the new year,
You had your spring and then
something
your
coming
big
in the
summer one.
spring, and in May, a summer blockbuster, and then November coming around. I'm thinking Thor,
Yeah.
like these are the types of movies that and it used to come out in this sequence. Then the pandemic kind of
cyclical.
jumbled
Yeah.
everything up. They went direct to Disney. They went to, they did all kinds of things that worked and didn't work. They've kind of been through the Marvel fatigue phase, and now it looks like Deadpool is kind of going to erase all of that in a very good way. Deadpool's a good resetter of things, right? So this could be like the year, right? Like this, like your gap year for Marvel.
That's true.
And then let's come back, and let's do what worked before, but let's be smart about it, I think, is kind of where. But it certainly doesn't sound like a reining in and dialing down. It sounds more like okay, let's get the band back together, and get this thing moving again the way that we had it going.
But I think that's good though, as well, is that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
coming back with characters that we are very familiar with and excited to see, like Red Hulk, right? I want to see what Harrison Ford brings to this now, because ever since he's had to replace, he's the second go around of General Thunderbolt Ross. Fantastic Four, everybody's been clamoring for it, to want to see this. Then you put the Thunderbolts in the middle with some characters we're already very familiar with, like Bucky Barnes, and Black Widow, right? So we're getting. I think this is an exciting time looking ahead into 2025, and I feel bad because I really enjoyed the movies before this, like Black Widow and Shang-Chi. I thought they were all brilliantly well done, and they just didn't do as well because they landed right in the middle of a pandemic.
It's kind of, it's like a bad parenting thing happened. And you things, my kids are on their phones all the time because of one misstep, and now it's a chance to kind of those things just kind of got lost
Yeah.
in the chaos, right? And they were still great films, and I think under different global circumstances, we probably would have been talking about them as different different successful types of movies, I think, because I don't think any one of them was. Eternals wasn't great. That's the only one I'll say, because it didn't hold my
They've had some
attention
hiccups.
the way that I had hoped
Yeah.
it would. But like, for the most part, I've got very few complaints.
Does this make sense, Brent?
I think the way that we should, I think we should look at it with this context. I think you got it spot on. Where, okay, this year gives people an opportunity to get over any fatigue that was there, and to get hungry for it again. That also provided Marvel Studios an opportunity under Bob Iger's direction to say, go and fix these things, because these were going in directions that were going to continue to be potentially divisive on your audience, on your fan base, because they're going to want to see things like they don't want a Daredevil show where Foggy dies in the first episode, and and then creates that. No, the fans don't want that. That might have been a creative and interesting scenario, but think about your fans. Think about what they're attached to and what do they want. And so don't tell stories that are going to be divisive and really tick people off. tell them stories that they want to get excited about and they're going to love. So Bob Iger said, retool some of these things, and they did that. Cap, Brave New World, Daredevil, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Avengers 5, Blade, all have gone through rewrites, and to get them to the point where they feel like, okay, we're on our mark. So we're getting people hungry. They're going to come to Marvel properties. They're going to enjoy the heck out of these, and they're going to love them. So this is what this year is providing. It's providing Marvel the opportunity to make sure they got it right, because there has been the buzz or the momentum of things being, okay for some, but others really disliking certain things, or just, why is Marvel not as amazingly on the mark as they have been for the last decade? It seems not quite as successful, or anyway. So that kind of thing, they wanted to wipe the slate clean, give them a chance to come back strong, and have people excited about the brand and all the properties, and that's what they're doing. And oddly enough, with Deadpool and Wolverine, with Ryan
The big
Reynolds getting to kind of
unifiers,
just,
yeah.
it's sort of as a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
That's probably pretty good.
I mean, that one scene at the end of the first trailer when he's sitting there talking to the lady and she's asking if he wants to do cocaine. He goes, "We can't say that in front of Feige. Doesn't want that word."
Feige said no.
And then she's listing off all these different things. I think what you're saying there, Brent, is it makes perfect sense, because really, after Deadpool, okay, we've got 5 months, 6 months really until Captain America: Brave New World, because then after that, the train is off and running, and there's not going to be any stopping it, because they've got all of these other movies coming, one after another.
And they still pick up from, look what happened coming out of Secret Invasion and the president of the United States. But whoa, wait a second. Harrison Ford is going to be the president of the United States when coming up here. So what happens to the current president of the United States?
Good,
Right.
Yeah.
We got to get that story. So we're going to, there's some big stuff going to be happening. And how is this unfolding here? To move us into this era of, Harrison Ford's General Ross going to Secretary of State, and then going to president.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden being involved in some fashion with the Thunderbolts, or being involved with, this technology that Samuel Stearns was, of course, involved in, because he gathered all the Hulk blood. And how does we don't, anyway, there's a very strong possibility we could end up with some interesting characters coming out of this, including him, with some potential for a Red Hulk appearance. And then moving into Thunderbolts as well,
I see no better reason. I'm gonna have to get myself in much better shape. I gotta get my blood pressure in order. I need to be in my 30s shape. Like I need the stamina to jump back on board for another 8-year cycle here.
We've got 7 months.
We can do
got
this.
7 months to do this.
We can put this together. We can reform ourselves, or variants will come in and be sitting in these chairs in 2025. The AI versions of us. Yeah, there's enough of our voices online and our faces. Surely we can be reconstructed by AI for multiverse versions. Yeah, this is all like it's funny again. Like we were just the whole notion that just chill out. Let's get this Marvel stuff calmed down and make it a little bit more.
And I think by
digestible, but no, it's like no, these are gonna be big spoonfuls coming up here.
And I think by selecting, for whatever reason, I don't know, it's Wolverine and Deadpool. People have wanted to see it, and we are going to get it. And as Brent alluded to, the pre-ticket sales were just in that one day, they shattered records. So we know there's a thirst for it. Maybe it's just to see these two, because we know what Reynolds has done leading up before they even announced this movie, right? Where he was crashing an X-Men anniversary party on Zoom or whatever. There's all these things. I think there's going to be this will reawaken our appetite, I think.
And do things we're not supposed to see. in the other Marvel movies. And I think that's the other part when you talk about a palate cleanser. I'm not supposed to see. I mean, but there's
We
going
would
to be
expect to see.
those multiverse elements. I think they're going to come into play. There's alternate storyline things that are going to come into play. There's gruesomeness that we're not used to seeing that we're going to get to see.
Yeah.
And this team up of the two biggest curmudgeons in the MCU. The worst attitudes you can put for a team up, and people are wild for it already. And then they put him in, they put Logan in the brightest of yellows.
Yep.
And set up X-Men 97 again, on point for timing, everything. So this is I mean, the expectation's high, and the good
I don't
thing
think it will disappoint.
no, and that's it. Like, I think this will be a hard one to disappoint the fans with. Not to jinx it, but I definitely think you're right. Like, this is the palate cleanser. This is the thing that's going to be like, okay, and what's going to carry over now that Deadpool is, kind of in the Disney Marvel sphere of things. How does this affect things going forward? There's never no ripple that out of once you get into the kind of mothership proper of films, right? So that this could set some things up too, that and then we're just gonna have to wait 6 months to see.
Right on,
Starving for it, yeah.
The expectations of, I mean, how many times have we been hearing the Taylor Swift rumor of
Yeah.
her showing up and it being the Dazzler, and just because it's so perfect
Yeah.
from a fan perspective, does that mean it will actually happen? And then every time that Taylor Swift goes to a ball game with Ryan Reynolds and his wife is like, see,
Right. Yeah.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. If anybody
But,
can make it happen, yeah.
Yeah.
It might happen,
Right.
So we'll have to wait and see just
Yeah.
what's going to come out of this, because some big things could come out of this.
Yeah. Well, and just, I mean, like, take the whole crazy world and where we're at this year in particular, what's coming up over the next 6 to 7 months, and just in North American change, let alone, like cinematic, everything, whatever we come out, whatever spits us out in November, we're going to want some salve here in the new year. I don't care how it's going to be a bruising American election to watch. It's going to be like just kind of a cultural what are we watching kind of thing. So I think we're really going to need this. And the good thing about the MCU is they really haven't ventured into these dicey political areas because they have their own politics. They have their own universe of this kind of stuff. You don't have to have what's going on in present time to reflect, like some of these movies that are coming out now that are reflecting, current climates and stuff. You don't need it. We've got this escape where it's like they got their own problems in Marvel's universe and the governments, and it's probably far deeper than we have in
They're all
reality.
scrolls, or
Exactly. Yeah. Like if Trump and Biden on June 27th, rip off the masks, perfect.
Yeah,
or
they're
you
aliens.
awesome. This makes sense now. Everything makes sense now.
And going forward, all the other shows we'll just add into it was Brent all along.
It was Brent all along. Brent all along. Yeah. Listen, that's a lot. That's a lot of Marvel to look forward to. It's funny, we kind of really kind of having to piecemeal our expectations out over the last 3 years and change our expectations because of the ever changing schedule and delays, and but we've got a suite of things coming up. And I say this, as my aging and everything, years of things are mapped out ahead of us, and I love the possibilities in front of us.
Yeah, I think every one of these has the potential to be massive.
Yep.
Cap, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Avengers 5, with the potential of Moon Knight being tied into the story in Egypt and fun and tying those things in. I still contend that Armor Wars is going to be Iron Man 4. And it would be Iron Man Armor Wars. And then you'd get a proper Rhodey as Iron Man story going on.
Yeah.
And then you hit Avengers Secret Wars, which can cleanse all of it wherever they go.
Yeah.
And then have an interesting reset. introduce X-Men, they could reintroduce, like we've said before,
Yeah.
Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, with
Yeah.
new cast members for the next generation. You know, they've got all kinds of possibilities. So we're in for a little ride here, and we're about to see how far they're going to push things before they can do this reset, because they certainly have that in mind on their little whiteboard with sticky notes.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And isn't it great that we're not pinning all of our hopes on whether or not we get Spider-Man from Sony? Like we've got much other bigger and better things to kind of look forward to. Not to say that they haven't worked something out that's given us much joy. But you know, okay, well, we've got these other things now. We don't have to put so much pressure on Tom Holland. He does a lot of work for himself to get himself, you know, into these movies and to keep the multiverse alive. But they're going to share the load now. We've got
As
some
far as I'm
other
concerned,
players
we're
involved.
finally getting Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the MCU.
Oh,
We've all been following,
It's
which
crazy.
you know, there's
Yeah.
part of your fan service. So
Right on. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, guys, that was a great chat.
yeah, it was. Brent, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you in 10 days.
Yeah, good to reconnect, and really looking forward to seeing you in Moncton on June 7th, or June 8th is when we're
Yeah,
there, right?
June 8th. Yeah.
And getting a chance to talk in person and checking out an amazing show, folks. East Coast Comic Expo. Check it out, ECCE on all the socials. Follow ours if you're looking for info. We do our best to amplify everything that's coming out. If you're in the area, be sure to head down to Moncton.
Yeah.
And
If you've
and
never
check out the
been,
show.
go. It's well worth it.
Stellar a list of guests and presenters and creators and vendors, and it's gonna be a great show.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys there. Yeah, appreciate every time we get to chat, and look forward to more as all of this Marvel stuff approaches.
Oh yeah, we got Brent coming back in July right before Deadpool. So
Yeah, right on. All right, listen, folks, thanks again for tuning in, and as always, take care and stay safe.